Every day, each of us uses enough power in the home to make 2,000 pieces of toast. We take it for granted that we can be warm, have hot water on tap, electricity at the flick of a switch, or gas at the turn of a knob. It's all at our fingertips. But how do we get to this comfortable position? Well, that's what this series is all about. Unravelling the mechanics of domestic life. And tonight I unplug the story of power in our homes. It's a story that takes us back to the earliest times and starts with our basic need for heat and light. I've built a fire on a beach. And why? Because I like it. I love the structure, I love the warmth, I love all that mechanics of it. And it feels like a really elemental thing. It feels like this is what we all need to do, and somehow it's programmed inside. There's something that draws people to a fire. It's a real social thing. But we need to tame this power and bring it into the home so we can use it. So this fireside tale tells how we've tamed the power of that raging beast to bring heat and light into our homes. It begins at the dawn of civilization. I've flown up to the magnificent Orkney Islands off the north of Scotland to 5,000-year-old Skara Brae to see what happened when we first invited the fire into our homes. Well, welcome to Fred Flintstone's house. It's actually, in estate agent terms, needs a little attention. But the features of a modern house are really here, except that the fire's in the middle. This is the centre of the whole existence. It cooks, it lights, it keeps everybody warm. This was the centre of the house, the hearth. The old Latin word for hearth is focus. That's where we get centre, focus from. But right by the fire, and logical really if you want to stay warm at night, is a fitted bed, and this would be lined with moss and fur and grass, a Stonehenge duvet really. As a designer and problem solver, I'm impressed by the layout of these rooms and how much we can still learn from them today. The whole thing is quiet and peaceful and sheltered from the outside by these big thick walls. Nice design really, but there's one thing missing. Let me show you. So here's our Stone Age house, all nice and cosy, fire in the middle, except it's not cosy, there's no roof. We better put one on. Got a few timbers on there, but this is the Orkney Islands, there's no timber, there's no trees. So they used whale bones and then put some sort of hides or sheeting material, it would have been hides, that's all they've got, followed by big lumps of turf. The same turf probably that they used to use to burn in the fire. There's the walls at the side, and here's our fire down there. Look, there's the fireplace, everything's around the fireplace, so we'll put a couple of characters in. Put a couple of Neolithic types in, Neolithic nose, Neolithic hairdo. Eye, can you see that? I don't know if I can see it. But anyway, there's another one. Put that little eye in. Hair all over the place, they're wild, these people. But it wasn't a wild civilization. This is a nice little dwelling. Here's the fire. Fire, lots of smoke. Look, it heats the whole room. But we've covered it up with a roof. Where does that smoke go? I don't see any evidence of a chimney. Of course there isn't. There's no chimney here. What must it really have been like to live in this sort of situation before somebody invented some technology to get rid of the smoke? A few thousand years on, and Orkney crofters used all sorts of technology in their cottages, and not just to get rid of smoke. The fire is still central, but built high against a brick wall, the beginnings of the fireplace. And they had other lateral thinking ideas to maximise their comfort. I'm bringing a supplementary heat source into an ancient Orkney croft. So is it really an extra heat source?
Oh yes. They had sheep and cattle and occasionally a pig right in their living quarters. And there is an enormous amount of heat comes off a cow.
Is there?
Oh, there is.
Thank goodness we couldn't get a cow just now then. Well, it's quite good with the sheep at the moment. In fact, a pair of sheep each day gives off heat energy equivalent to more than 200 watts,
I'd call them a mini version of a 2-bar fire.
So this is the focus of the house in a sense.
This is the fire back, which of course heats up and helps to heat up the house. It's your first storage radiator.
Yeah, well, it's great. Principle, basic physics works every time.
Yes.
Smoke's going somewhere. Where's the smoke going?
The smoke goes up and finds its way out through the lum.
The lum?
The lum, which is not over the fire.
No, why's
because
that?
on a very wet day...
Why am I asking this?
Yes. You couldn't possibly have a fire under a hole that size.
Right.
Or you would simply swamp your fire.
It's great and cosy, but there's one thing really surprises me. It's this. What is it?
This is the skyline board.
A skyline board?
A skyline board.
And what does that do?
If you lift that up, you'll find that on the other end of it is a board that makes one side of the chimney higher than the other three.
Well,
and you can move it around.
Well, you can, and I am.
Yes, and it always sits with its back to the wind.
Aye.
And it's the wind lifting over that board that helps draw the smoke out of the house.
It's aeronautics, really.
Yes, it's aircraft technology, if only they knew it.
It's a simple solution. It works very, very well. It's why overcomplicate things? And you can see it's the birth of the chimney, really. It's a rudimentary chimney, but the fact that you can control airflow in such a simple way, it's magic, really. Heating a cosy crofter's cottage is one thing, but things didn't stay quite so modest. And after all, an Englishman's home is his castle.
So how would you heat a massive stone structure like this magnificent castle at Skipton? Well, when this castle was built over 900 years ago, the main fuel was timber. And unlike the Orkney Islands, Yorkshire had plenty of trees and plenty of cheap labour to fell them.
No trees died needlessly in the making of this programme. Trees are a fuel, they're a crop. We're not hurting anybody by doing this. It's a diseased tree, it needs to be taken out of the way. And this has gone on for centuries. But as you can see, it's quite big. So all this has got to be converted to a size we can use. This big baronial hall is in actual fact the kitchen, and you'll see that the fireplace has moved down from the middle to the end of the room where you'd expect it, into this fireplace. And what a big fireplace this is, because this big log will burn all day down there, and it saves the need for doing lots of sawing and cutting up little logs. But even with a big fire like this, exactly how long will it take to heat a room like this?
History books say castles are always cold, but let's see if that's true with some modern temperature measuring equipment.
Here's my gizmo here. It's the latest in infrared camera technology, and right away with this gizmo I find big generators of hot air. It's the crew. There's the light, and what you got there? Coffee. Well, that obviously is an integral part of castle life. Well, let's have a look round. It feels chilly, it feels like I'm outside. You might not be able to, well, you might not be able to see me breath. What about that, Ian? But look at the wall there, it's 4 degrees. If I just whiz over to this log here, take my hand generates heat, put the hand on top of the log, take it away, residual heat is shown in the log itself, and there it is. Isn't that incredible? That's fantastic.
After half an hour, the fire is becoming an intense heat source at over 500 degrees. Further away, the bricks have gone up from 5 degrees to the mid-20s. But the fire has a long way to go to heat up all of this drafty hall.
I think you'll find the culprit is a little hole in the corner here, which is a medieval toilet. Now, this medieval toilet has obviously got a bit of a cold updraft.
Another draft is caused by the fire itself, which loses heat up its own chimney along with the smoke. Chimney design was still very crude in the 15th century, but the basic technology was becoming established.